So, hello everyone. Can you hear me? Can you? Nope, that's not better. Let me know in the comments. Oh my god. Let me know in the comments if you can hear me. Hi. Good, good. Okay. So, it's time and let's get started, I guess. Right, that's good. Okay. My name is Dina Brenka. I'm a still life photographer who tells animate stories about inanimate objects. And I guess you've heard that catchphrase already. I just like it. Today we're going to talk about inspiration. Like every artist I know had to deal with a creative block at least once in their life, and every artist I know sometimes have problems with staying inspired, and like maybe we have some commissioned work but didn't just spark the joy in their hearts, or they were tired, or just like didn't feel creative. So today we talk how to deal with it. And let me to switch to my pictures like that. Yep, that must be better. So what's the plan? This is the plan. First of all, I'm going to talk about my workflow, how I go from idea to finished work, just to give you a vision in which circumstances my tips can be most appropriate. Then I'm going to talk about techniques which I use to make sketches, like lists, mind maps, stuff like that. Then about overcoming creative block, and a couple of words about procrastination and giving up. And finally, about staying inspired, like how to keep your creativity. So, about my workflow, the most important part is making sketches, obviously. Like my work at all, it's not, like in general, is not very peculiar. My sketches look like this, not very pretty, but useful, I guess. This is the part where you make your idea visible, like you convey your thoughts into something graphic. And I work with sketches all the time. I know there are photographers who can shoot without them. I can't imagine how they're doing this. I know, like maybe you're that kind of photographer who doesn't need a sketch, but maybe you just don't know what you need to sketch. So I encourage you to try and encourage you to plan your work ahead. Like there are two different kinds of writers, you know, the discovery writers and the outliners. So I'm outliner. Like if I were about to write a book, I would be that sort of writer. Like this is my sketches for a series called Enchanted Tea. Like kind of a mess, but you can see that there are 5 pictures with 5 types of objects and 5 types of composition. After I make a sketch, I usually gather props like this from the same series. I don't have fancy stuff. I live in a kind of small town, so I don't have many opportunities to find something extraordinary. And I usually work with something very simple, like bottles and donuts, like everything I can buy in the local shop. Props for the same series again. When my props are ready, I make composition. It don't really take a long time because I think about composition on the first stage. Like when I make a sketch, I can draw an outline of how everything is going to be composed. Like this is the same series. Like I'm here trying to make some smoke with aroma sticks. And after that, I set the lights and press the shutter and take a picture. Uh, After post-processing, which doesn't take very long again, um, where I just adjust. Oh my god, that sounds not really good. Here I adjust some contrast and color and maybe combine 2 or 3 pictures together. And that's basically all. Like the most important and most interesting for me part is making a sketch. Just to give you another example, how like you can came up with an idea for a photo. Here's my work called Weightlessness Potion. It was inspired by a single line of my new favorite band, The National. There's a line in the song Graceless when they say, I'm invisible and weightless. And, I'm really easily inspired by words, not only by poetry, but sometimes just with something well phrased, or if I see something but put into words really clever, I enjoy it a lot and I can be easily moved by that. So I heard that line and I thought, oh my God, this is so beautiful. This is just perfect. I need to make a picture connected to it. I need to express like my adoration maybe, and I didn't want to make it make this connection really clear. Like it was not a tribute; it just was an inspiration. So I was thinking about things what can be weightless, like what can be weightless. Soap bubbles, maybe bird feathers, maybe air, maybe wind. Like I listed literally every object I could think about, which is weightless or can be considered weightless. And I pick one. I picked dandelion seeds because they are like not really weightless, but they can represent that idea because they're very light and airborne, maybe. So here you can see the first shot and the final work, and everything was made out of one line of a song. So what that was the story behind one image. What helped me? What trick I used? What tricks and techniques can be used in general? Like this, something like this. First of all, making lists. Like making lists may sound kind of stupid, but it helps a lot. For example, this series called From the Top Shelf, I wanted to shoot splashes. Like the idea was I make a shelf, I make an object fall from it, and I'm going to create a splash. So I just went to my kitchen and listed all the liquid things I could find. Like, what can it be? It can be obviously water, lemonade, coffee, tea, milk, and maybe, well, maybe wine. I had to cross out some things because, like, I'm not really comfortable with spilling large amounts of wine in my apartment. No, I'm not going to do it. But lemonade, okay. Milk, kind of okay. Coffee, obviously. Like I made a list and immediately made some sketches and created a series just from like one list of liquid things. Not so liquid things because it wasn't enough. So I thought also about something I can scatter, like sprinkles or maybe a floor. And this is another series. I thought that scattered floor looks kind of like Milky Way, like kind of like galaxy. So I made a list of things, of objects connected to space, like constellations or International Space Station, or stars, or planets, or asteroids, or satellite, everything like that. And then I made silhouettes out of paper and just took a picture. Another example, this is work for a magazine. The theme for this issue was camping. So I obviously made a list about everything what connected, what associated to camping in my mind, like backpack, flask, compass, maps, Swiss Army knife, matches, and well, I had to combine it with food because it was a recipe magazine. Usually camping is connected to barbecue, and I'm not going to cook barbecue. I just have no idea how to do it. So maybe there is something sweet connected to camping. Yes, yes, there is. Roasted marshmallows. It's like a perfect match for me. So I just combined two lists together and made this picture. Like, what list can you make? How can it help you? If you have some vague, unformed idea, list down all what connects to it, like in the Dandelion example. Made a list of everything that seemed to be vagueless. Yes? Or you can decide on a theme. Sometimes I find myself hanging about my flat thinking, what can I shoot today? That's not really productive. Yes? So you can make a list of things you like and pick something from that randomly, and that would be a theme. Like you can shoot 10 stories about your favorite books, or about 5 broken cups, or a dozen of autumn leaves. Like this is just a ready-made series you can work on. This is an example from my endless book series. When I started it, I was just terrified. I had to take 52 pictures. 52. This is like crazy for me. I call a series only 3 photos in a row. Like this is a series for me. So I was terrified, but I pulled myself together and made a list of sweets and a list of celestial objects, and thought which of them could be combined. It turned out that cookies can become an asteroid belt, and a donut is pretty good for a center of a star system. So I made two really long lists, combined them together, and made kind of long and kind of nice series, I guess. Another thing you could use, just a minute, comments. Do I stick to my sketch while shooting? Yes, usually yes. If I find out that my sketch is not really good, like if it is not working, I have to stop myself, sit down and make another sketch. Like I have to have a plan, because without a plan, I just feel like I'm lost and don't know what I'm doing. So kind of yes, I stick to my sketch. Tell us more about composition. I found them not that simple at all, like you choose to build a photo on one line or some circle. Okay, I will get back to composition in the end. I will show you some schemes, I guess, something that works, something with which you can work really easily, like in the end of a webinar. I remember it. Okay. Okay, I guess I answered that one. Back on track. Another thing you can use is mind maps. Mind maps is like my top 3 things I won't shut up about. It's like making a list, only in roundish form. When I first heard about mind maps, it seemed like a kind of pointless idea. I thought I could just write down a sensation in a column with the same success. But mind maps can give you something better than that. They encourage lateral thinking, making you able to see connection connections between things that don't seem related, connections which you never see at the first glance. Mind maps provide a structure, allowing you to work with many elements at the same time. Um, so there are many detailed instructions and articles how to use mind maps in the internet. You can easily find it. But here's a summary. Write the main theme in the center of the list. It may be an object you're working with, the mood you want to convey, um, maybe the color, maybe your inspirational quote, like something to start, anything to start. Write it down in the center and draw rays of main branches. It may be your associations, shooting conditions, some available props, supporting ideas, or locations. Refine each of these parameters using the supporting branches. Ask yourself which of the two resulting data fit together best, and build your picture based on that finding. Like here, I had some keys. Like this picture was born because I found a box of keys, and I was like, hey, this is like perfect prop. What can I do with it? And I wrote down a couple of associations, like keys connected to something locked. Like it may be a box, it may be a room, or it may be a person, like a princess in the tower. Um, Keys connect to an exit. Like you can find your way out with a key. You can have like if you don't have a key, you can have kind of hopeless situation if you're locked. Or you can have not a real door, but a door which is an illusion. Or maybe you can have an object you can open. So at least I made a mind map out of all these things, and I pick like a person, someone like a princess in a tower, and I picked a door which is an illusion. Like I could draw it, or I can make an embroidery. So I made an embroidery with a door, and just put everything together and show the picture about someone who wants to escape. Like this is in Russian. Sorry about that. I'll explain it. This was a picture for a magazine. They asked me, like, it was a magazine competition, like an art competition. I was supposed to make something about the local foods. I picked like cousin, like food from different countries I liked, and I like Italian food and Mexican food. Like what from Italian food can I have? Pasta? Not really. I don't want to cook pasta. Like it's time consuming. No. What from Mexican food can I cook? Maybe burrito. Well, yes, but it doesn't look well on photos usually. Maybe nachos. Yes, nachos are pretty simple. It's easy to cook, and they look like chips, so they look tasty. Um, and What things connect to Mexican food? It's really, really hot. It has a lot of pepper. Um, like so, I have to use pepper. I have to use color red, chili peppers, and maybe something that looks like a fire. So, and I wanted to make little twist and work with lettering. So I combined three things together, basically. The food, nachos, the idea of Mexican food being spicy, so the chili peppers and the flame image, and some lettering. Ta-da! Like this mind maps corresponds to this picture perfectly. Another example with oranges. No, I didn't win it. How did I make the lettering? The lettering is made with, like, let me do it. I used paper template. Like, I draw it on a sheet of very thick paper, cut it with a knife, and like place it on a background and scatter paper right above it. And then I use tweezers to remove the template, and you can see the background like untouched under this template. It's a very simple trick, but I really like it. It works with flour, for example. It works with cocoa and basically any powder. I really recommend you to use it. It's kind of cool. Like, it's very, very simple. You can maybe not make letters. It can be time consuming to make letters, especially if you're doing this for the first time. But you can make some symbols, like, well, a space station, something with a very clear outline, like very simple silhouette. Okay, let's go. Another mind map, very simple one with oranges. So I had a bunch of oranges, and they have only two properties mainly. They are orange and they're round, like everything you can do about orange. So what can you do about them being orange? You can paint it in another color. You can make a palette about them, like you can imagine some artist seeking inspiration from nature and using a palette, like swatches maybe, made from oranges and lemons. And you can think about their form, like they're round, it's a circle. What else can be related to that? Maybe air balloon, maybe hot air balloon, maybe wheels, maybe sun. So I thought, well, they look like balloons, maybe. So how can I show this finding? How can I show this connection? And I just made some ropes and covered all the oranges like in a bucket, in a bunch, and made this picture. It's like kind of simple. And like, this sketch is very simple too, so it doesn't take a lot of time, especially if you do this for a long time for practice. Like, it gets easier with time. Another thing you can do is thinking of a character. Like, you can imagine a person and you can make a still life connected to it, to this person. For example, you can think of a reader. Like, I like to read books a lot. So maybe you can imagine someone who reads a lot of fantasy and kind of obsessed with it. And maybe this person spends so much time reading fantasy books that he or she starts to see something from these books in real life, like dragons. Maybe you can put a dragon, like a reflection of a dragon, in the coffee cup. Or maybe you can have someone who loves to travel and they would have a reflection of an airplane in the coffee cup. Or you can think of a writer who struggles to find something to write about, like struggles to find an inspiration for a book, and like arrange his still life according to that. Or you can have a writer who is so tired of, I don't know, maybe of his creative block, or who's frustrated with his characters. So this person just wants to burn down everything and make a picture out of that. Maybe you can think of a magician or a wizard and gather your props accordingly. Or you can think about, well, not really mathematician, but maybe like a kid in school on a geometry lesson who maybe has summer holidays but still have to do his homework, and like thinking about the geometry stuff while eating ice cream or drinking coffee or eating donuts, something like that. So just imagine a character, like make a list of characters, like maybe pirates, wizards, scientists, explorers, adventurers, musicians, maybe, and think what their take on your scene could be. Or you can think about a real person, like not just oh my god, how do I put it? Like not someone abstract, but a real person, like your friend. So this is a portrait, a still life portrait of a real person. Her name is Anya Grushina. She's a scientist. She's a physicist, and I made a portrait of her. So I have some. Oh, I don't know how it's called in English. Um, Elementary powers, like. Oh my god. Okay, so with kind of connections between particles, elementary particles, a nebula, a box of leptons, um, some magnifying glasses, and I have a quote in a notebook from Harry Potter and the Methods of Rationality about his Patronus and about humanism and science. And I just made a list of this stuff connected to my character and combined it together to get this picture. So comments. No, airplane wasn't made in post-production. Like I have a tutorial on 500 pixels about that. I used paper template again to make this reflection. Oh, yeah, Anya Grushina is here. Hey. Yes, particle physics. So, Anya, how does this thing called like weak, strong help? Okay. Not really important. Like, I know it in Russian. I don't know it in English. I'm sorry. So, back to tech. Actually, the most important thing you can do, like the most productive thing you can do about basically anything, is to ask questions. You can select any simple object, a flower, a coffee cup, a pencil, or an apple, maybe, and try to squeeze out of it all what's possible. Deconstruct it, dissect it on simple properties. What shape is it? What color? Can you cut it? Can it be painted? Write all characteristics you can think of and then change just one. Like you can think of changing the solidity of an apple. Make it liquid and watch how it melts from a fruit bowl and how it produces a splash of excellent apple red, right? Or you can cut apple into half circles and make a kaleidoscopic image of it. Like I really love this quote by Neil Gaiman, who says that you get ideas when you ask yourself simple questions. The most important question is what if? Like if you're going to remember just one thing from this webinar, remember that one. This is really cool, and this is helps you with basically any of your work. Like for example, I wanted to make a picture about sounds of nature. So how can I represent the sound? This is the question. I can use notes, like musical notes, but it was done so many times before. I can use sound wave, like a graphic of sound wave. Okay, I thought that kind of works. From what can I make this? maybe I can make it from grass. So, okay, yes, I'm going to do it. I just gathered some grass and flowers and moss and arrange it in a way it represents sound wave. And to give people a clue what I'm talking about sounds, I put an audio cassette to it, so you'll be on the right track. Yes, types of fundamental forces, thank you. Okay, another one. I had a lot of marshmallows in my home from making this picture about camping I talked about before. And I wanted to try some food lettering. I really love food typography. And it was very easy decision to combine marshmallows I have and food lettering. So I made letters from them. I used cookie cutters. And all I had to do is to come up with an idea for a phrase I'm going to use. And I was like, okay, I'm going to use one letter per cup. So I don't have that many cups, but I want to have a lot of them in my frame. So I have to make something really, really simple, like hell yeah. Well, why not? Another example is this photo with splashes. Like it was summer. Summer is a perfect time for shooting splashes, obviously. I didn't want to make it with coffee or lemonade or any food. I decided to make it with flowers and asked myself, how can I make it original? So, can I put these flowers in a vase and like where should I place a splash? And I thought that maybe I can make it kind of anti-gravitational, so it would move not from top to bottom or from bottom to top, but from left to right. And it was shot like this. Like it was all glued to a background, which was placed vertically, and the splash is actually falling from top to bottom, but it looks like it goes from left to right. Or maybe you can think of star, like what questions can you ask? There's a phrase, make a wish upon a star. So if you're going to use that wish not now, but sometime later, you have to capture the star. You have to make it tame. And maybe you can put it in a bottle. And maybe you can arrange a working desk or like a workplace of an astronomer or a wizard who collects stars. And after you decided on that idea, like, okay, I'm going to make a picture about a person who collects stars, you have to ask yourself for all the other questions, like how a table should look like, which props can you use. You just gather all these decisions and combine them into one sketch, and then just follow the sketch till you take a picture. Okay. Like, another example, I had to make a photo with smoke for Halloween. So I thought, okay, I'm probably going to use some silhouettes, or maybe I thought, how can I represent some things related to Halloween, like bats and haunted mansions and spiders and zombies. And obviously, I don't have that kind of complicated props. So let's make it out of paper. Let's cut it out of paper. And I did. And I make it, I put it in bottles filled with smoke and lit with backlight, like lit from the back. So you can see the salads. And it's like I answered two simple questions, like what objects should I use and how can I make them? Like, okay, I make them from paper. That's not really complicated. So maybe you have any questions from this part, and we can go to another, and we can speak about the common creative block after that. I'll wait. Nope. Okay. Okay, let's talk about our common creative block. So, for different people, different things are going to work. And for me, this is this list. Like, this is the best things that I found useful. Maybe I really hope that you can try some of them and find them useful too. Maybe. Like, first of all, narrow down your search. Eliezer Yudkowsky has a really great essay called The Virtue of Narrowness, when he says that you have to be specific. So if you try to stay narrow, it actually helps you to be creative. So if you're thinking about making a picture, don't start with finding something big and important. Start with something small and maybe small things and small connections between these things. But also can be important, Don't think, I should photograph something creative today. Think, this donut looks nice. How can I photograph it with a twist? Pick a theme. Pick an object. Don't allow yourself to overthink it. Just pick something, literally anything, and work from that. Like here, I just picked the color red. And that's all. It was very narrow theme. I listed all the things with the color red I could think about and picked the simplest one, like a tomato. What can be more simple than a tomato? Maybe you can narrow down your search to the props you have right now. Like if you're going to shoot food, photograph something that you already have in your kitchen. I don't know what it can be. In my case, here it was chips and tomatoes and some ketchup and some basil. Usually, if I think about what I have in my kitchen, it's just coffee and cookies. Maybe you can restrain yourself with even more simple props like lemon tea and paper circles. Like you can say, okay, I'm narrowing down my search to minimalistic props and maybe paper. Like I'm allowed to use paper and nothing more. Maybe you can narrow it down to something seasonal. Like if you shoot your picture in autumn, it can be autumn leaves and apples. And it's very, very simple props, but you can make something really good looking out of that. Another tip is create your own frames and borders. Paradoxically, but creating borders is often the best way that help your imagination to do its job. Like I said before, if you think, I have to photograph something, your brain becomes stunned with thousands and thousands of possibilities and just can't pick up only one. But when you think, I have to photograph something red, your brain becomes more focused and knows what it needs to do. So imagine that you have a brief or sort of work description and think of any confines you can make. Like only green, only round, only with hard light, only transparent, only from above. After that, surely ask questions. Again, what objects are green? What surroundings is appropriate for green objects? What shade of green? It may be like eco green, it may be neon green. If you actually have a brief, make your limits more clear. It can help you understand not only what you can change, but also what you can. Like here, the bound, like the borders were, I'm going to shoot just a cup of coffee and sugar. So what can you do with sugar? You can make patterns with sugar. You can make a really tall stack of sugar cubes. You can use sugar to make splashes. Like you have only two really simple objects. So your brain thinks of it like a challenge, and it becomes really, really interesting to your brain to work on the problem if you have some restrictions to yourself. Here, the idea was to shoot just tea, and I was thinking about like, okay, tea. What can be special about tea? But it may be hot, and you can have a lot of steam with it. So what connects to steam? Well, steampunk connects to steam. So you can have just one teacup and one drawing of something steampunkish to create an atmosphere. Also said before, just seasonal objects, just some leaves and a teacup and the rain. Another thing you can do, you can take a creative prompt. Usually this is a thing what writers do. Like there's a lot of sites for aspiring writers with themes, and also there are a lot of sites for photographers with themes like that. So if you can't think about anything to shoot, you can just go for this website and get you kind of an assignment. You can pick the latest one, or you can pick something randomly, like everything that helps. Another thing is you can engage in related work. So every project needs a big idea behind it, obviously, but if you don't have a big idea right now, that doesn't mean you have to sit still and be upset with yourself. Start with something right now. You can prepare your workplace and instruments. You can buy some paper, or you can buy new spoons. You can paint a new background. All these little preparations will clear your mind and get you into a working mood. And maybe through this preparing, you actually get half the work done. So, like, usually when I feel uninspired, I'm started to do something with my hands, like painting backgrounds. Like this plywood, I guess, is painted with acrylic paint. And I made some watercolor drops and splashes on it. And I really liked the result. So I specifically made watercolor background. And after that, I liked it so much, I made an entire series just to showcase this background. Like this. So if you don't feel like working, you can do something what relates to your work, but don't really require you to like to be creative like right now. You can post-process your old photos. You can tidy up your props or tidy up your backgrounds maybe. Like you can organize your working place. Do something like that. If you can't think of something to shoot, do something but like help you work later. Or you can just take a break. That's kind of allowed. Like they're so common, I shouldn't even talk about it, but people ignore it so often. Like near a place where people had good ideas most often. Is it a work table? I suppose not. Most of the time, it's a shower. If you're thinking about something for a long time, your brain often transforms these thoughts into a background process. So if you let your brain to take its time, the solution may come to you naturally while you be doing something simple like washing your coffee cup. And the final piece of advice on that, don't rely on inspiration. Like, I really love this quote. So maybe if you don't feel inspired, you can um like you can do something which looks like a routine. Like you can like not force yourself to be creative, but to make some simple work. Um, like when writers don't feel inspired, but they still sit down and write a plan. So you can do just that. You can write a plan, you can outline your themes, and maybe while you're working, inspiration will come to you naturally. Okay, so another important theme is procrastination and giving up. Just like a quick tip, because procrastination, in like my experience, is the most harmful thing to your creativity, and the most I don't know, helpful thing I've read about procrastination. It's this article by Eliezer Yudkowsky. He says that working hurts less than procrastinating because we fear not the pain of work, we fear the pain of making the decision. So when you find yourself procrastinating next time, just think about it. Just think that you probably won't suffer from being in the middle of working process. Like you won't suffer as much as you suffering from procrastination. So just force yourself to making a decision. Like maybe you can say, I'll work only for 2 minutes. It's not very hard to work for 2 minutes, but you will have this decision already, and it will release the pain of like release the pain that makes you procrastinating. Like I really recommend this article. It's extremely helpful. And another important thing is, nope. Oh yes, and like about procrastination, you can make a deal with yourself. So you will make a really simple picture. Like this picture, I guess, looks nice, but it's really simple. It's very simple composition. It doesn't have a lot of props, and it was shoot very quickly. So maybe if you don't feel like doing something complicated, you can just go and shoot donuts and shoot something very pleasing to you. Like I always enjoy shooting coffee. So when I feel uninspired, I'll just go back to this film. Like go back to something which doesn't require a lot of props and maybe not really a lot of thinking and preparation. Okay, another thing is remembering what you can quit. Like you can stop over time. People always say that you have to persevere and you have to never give up, but actually you kind of can, and sometimes it's useful. So if you find yourself in the middle of a process that doesn't like sparks joy in your heart, like what doesn't make you feel good, maybe you better to quit. Like you're better to stop and think of something else. It's kind of allowed. Okay, so finally, a couple of words of how to stay inspired, how to keep your creativity. Oh, I have comments, I have questions. Are you using some time management soft or organize your creativity some other way? Sometimes I feel like overwhelmed by ideas and want to do all projects in one moment of time. Yes. Yep, I'm a big time management fan. Usually I use Pomodoro technique, um, like for a day, uh, but like slightly modified. And usually I don't keep in work more than 2 or 3 projects. Like usually I have some commission work and some personal projects. Um, I try to have really clear deadlines. It's really helpful for me. Like even if I don't have a deadline for an entire project, I would have a deadline for like covering props or to finishing all the sketches. So maybe like yes, if you feel overwhelmed by ideas, you obviously have to pick one of them and work by one idea at a time. Write them down. You can work on planning for all of these ideas, and like you can make a list. You can make a plan for each project, and like you. Oh my God, how's it in English? It's so hard. Like you can have a list for each of your projects, but you don't have to complete this list one by one. You can have different parts of this list when you feel like it. Maybe this helps. And yes, write down all your ideas. Obviously, you can maybe have a bullet journal for it. For some people, find it helpful to like control all of your work and not forget something. I just use a lot of sketchbooks, and sometimes I forgot what I wanted to do, but that means that these ideas wasn't really great if I forgot about them. Okay? Yeah, no more questions. Back on track. So, how to stay inspired? First of all, you can look for our creative areas. Like if you're a photographer, you can start to draw. Maybe even draw something you always wanted to shoot but couldn't find the right props. If you're an artist, you can make a collage from your old sketches. Because working in unfamiliar territory encourages you to think outside the box. You're a newbie here. Newbies are allowed to do everything, especially to make mistakes. Even you, the strictest critics, aren't allowed to judge yourself if you're working with one-day experience. So just relax and let yourself explore new territory, I guess. Second thing, postpone the criticism. This is the first rule of brainstorming. No critiquing during a brainstorming session. When you're looking for ideas, write down every single one that comes to your head. There should not be no any premeditation, no criticism. You can decide later which ideas are good and which ones, well, not so much. Your inner critic is very quick to judge everything we create, so don't let him speak right now. He will have his word later, when it's time to choose only one idea from many. Another thing, you can write down things to try. So you can make sketches not for your current projects, but for your future projects. And when you feel like you don't know what to shoot, you can just go back to it and pick maybe randomly, maybe you just can pick something you like best from the list. So I find it very helpful to have a collection of things I want to try. Maybe locations where I want to photograph, maybe stories I want to illustrate, some beautiful color palettes, schemes of lighting, tricks of composition, or maybe some objects or some ideas for paper cuts. It's not a to-do list. It's more like I want to give it a try list. Maybe you'll never complete it, but you also never have a problem like, what should I do today? Yes. So maybe you can have a little book, and you can fill it with ideas. You can just postpone if you want to, but you can get back to them when needed. Another helpful thing is remembering things and places. You can think about circumstances in which you become most creative. Think about the place most comfortable to work. Does it need to be a place where you can talk to other people? Does it need to be quiet and cozy? Uh, is it inside or outside? Maybe it's a comfortable chair or a bench in the park. I found that I had most of my good ideas during sunny days, often on long bus rides, sitting by the window with headphones in my ears. You can notice these little things. Notice things you love, things that inspire you. Remember them and let them inspire you every day. And that's kind of, yes. Oh my God, I forgot it. This was an illustration for looking for our creative areas. So if you're a photographer, maybe you will find helpful to listening to podcasts. Like I find it really, really helpful. Maybe podcasts about music, like this one, or podcasts about language or rationality or design, like little things in design, but we don't really notice. But so that's kind of all. And I promised to talk about composition. Oh yes. Collecting inspiring music in special folders is also helpful, Julia says. Yes, it's a really good idea. I have some playlists for work too. Yes, remember the music, what inspires you. That's kind of cool. So you can ask me questions in the comments, and I just show a little stuff about composition. I promised. So, is it? I'm going to use our artist pics. Forgive me about that. Forgive me for what. So when you think about composition, the first thing you have to decide is it going to be like naturalistic, or is it going to be very like geometric like? Like I'm sorry, like in our program, but good. So like you can make your composition really guided by geometry and math, and it you can make it really non-minimalistic, really tidy and organized. Like this is the first decision you can make, making it tidy or making it kind of chaotic. Like this is these are examples of really tidy composition, or like this. Something that was made nearly by guidelines, or you can make it look more natural, like kind of a mess, like you can think of your character doing something with this place and not keeping it very clear and very organized. And when you made this decision, you can pick a sort of simple form and organize your composition according to that. Like pick a triangle or S curve, or maybe oh my God, he made it. Okay. My favorite composition is always triangular. I don't know why. They just really easy to organize and they look kind of simple. So like that's kind of it. I don't think that composition is very complicated topic. Maybe hmm, maybe the most complicated thing about composition is when you don't know which objects are going to use. So it's helpful to put all the objects you are going to use in like in your scene on the table, like near your work table, so you can have all of them in your sight, and it will be easier to organize them in your thoughts and organize them in the scene when you can see them all at once. Yes, that stands for your question or not? Okay, so maybe you have any additional questions? I'll wait. I know that there's some lag between my words and the translation, like this live translation, so I should wait a bit. Oh, okay, okay. We actually can speak later about composition because I'm not really eloquent in English to talk about it, I guess. It's always a good idea to copy someone else's composition, especially if you're working with another class of objects. Like you can shoot a still life and copy composition from a portrait, like especially a group portrait. Um, it's helpful and you're kind of allowed to do it. Any other questions, maybe? Maybe not. Yeah, someone asked me about stories, about what does it mean? Like, what does the word story mean if that you can we're talking about the visual language? So I wanted to say that translating to visual language is one of the most important parts of any work, like of work of photographers. Um, like one of the questions you should ask yourself is how it transforms to visual language. Like, mm, for example, maybe you want to make a picture about a reader who biggest love is fairy tales with dragons, and he dives deeper and deeper in the book and see glimpses and shadows of dragons in everything. So what does that mean on visual language? Maybe it means some warm, cozy color tones, which is appropriate to a book lover story. It obviously means a lot of books in the scene, and it needs a hint to show that our hero is spending a lot of time reading. Maybe cobwebs, maybe some houseplants quivering, or maybe dust, or maybe a lot of coffee cups. And of course, we need a dragon or something magical. So when you plan your shooting, you can like decide on what properties scene should have, and just ask yourself, what does it mean visually? Like in terms of color, in terms of light, you can again make a list of visual things you can transform. Like you can pick your colors, you can pick your light scheme, you can pick your props, and answer correspondingly to that items. Okay. Another question. Oh, hi, Andre. Nice to see you here. Um, how much you usually spend on props? Oh, it depends. Like, um, like in Russian rubles, uh, I don't know. Like it depends on shooting. Not really much because I reuse my props all the time. I have like a lot of boxes and coasters and tiny wooden stuff. I would just reuse from scene to scene, and sometimes it's not really noticeable because it's really different settings. Maybe, oh, maybe I can answer you like in a month. Actually, have a statistics. Just 1 minute. Free. Maybe in a range of 3 to 6,000 rubles in a month. Oh, that's not that much. It's about 50 to $100 in a month on my props. It's like for my personal projects and not for any commission work. Well, do you think it's expensive or not? I know that food photographers, like who shoot for stocks, spend a lot more on their props because, like, you can reuse wooden box, you can't reuse a shrimp or cake. Okay. Any other questions? Maybe. Should I switch to? Yep, maybe. No, no other questions. Okay, okay then. So I hope it was useful for you. It's my first experience speaking English, and it's kind of, oh my god, I'm really nervous. I'm not sure about my accent and my grammar, but I hope I could say something useful. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. You can write me in Instagram direct or in Facebook on like basically in every social media. So I'll wait like for a couple of minutes. Maybe you have some questions to ask, and then I just switch off. Thank you for coming. It was really nice talking to you. Okay, yeah, that's better, I guess. It's like 6 in the morning in my time zone. It's down. Yep. So nope, no one. Okay then. Um, thank you again, and I guess see you later. Oh, question: how do you filter your ideas? Well, the first filter is if this idea can be realized. Like sometimes I have a lot of ideas which are much easier to draw than to photograph, and like I write it down anyway. Maybe someday I will be able to shoot it or post process it in a way it will be like possible. Um, so this is the first one. If I can't do it, I just get rid of it. The second filter maybe is it idea understandable? Like sometimes I want to make maybe tributes for some things people don't really know. Well, sometimes I make it anyway. Like I have tributes to Kevin Pressure, and I knew like 5 people who's interested in it. But I love the show so much, I'll do tribute anyway. But most of the time, I try to think about my viewer and if my idea like will be clear. And if not, I'm trying to make something to make it easier to see, like easier to see the point of it. Like two basic filters, maybe, I guess. Again, oh, thank you. Glad you like it. Thanks. Thank you for coming. Yes, it's kind of nice English practice. It's it's just kind of unnerving a bit. I hope it will get better with time. Um, I also had a question, like in sign up form, about earning money with photography. Oh, and this is kind of hard one because in not in every not only in every country but in every city there's going to be some distinctions. Like how do I earn money from my photography? I shoot for local cafes, like for menu, and for I don't know tiny local firms. Like my favorite local client is a company which produces paper packaging, like love. So I shoot paper coffee cups for them with splashes and like with some nice twists. I like it. And I shoot for stocks, like for Getty Images. That's kind of all what I do right now. And I'm trying to make webinars. Oh, thank you, Lina. Thanks. Nice to meet you. Now questions, maybe? Okay, that's all. So thank you again. And okay, I'm not good. Oh my God. Okay, thank you for coming. And I hope to see you next time. Have a nice day.